And I say, good night lovers, good night friends. This is where my story ends. This is where I'll overdose. I challenge your imperium in your grandiose arena. I'm ready to be sacrificed to the god of sabotage. Rebels come and go, Caesars rise and fall. Everyone who's not in the arena is a weakling or a traitor. And I say, good night lovers, good night friends, from beyond the corroding fence that holds back anarchy. What would I give to have your confidence? What would I give for your poetic license? But my fire eats itself. I challenge your imperium in your grandiose arena. I'm ready to be sacrificed to the god of sabotage. I challenge your imperium in your grandiose arena. I'm ready to be sacrificed to the god of sabotage. I challenge your imperium in your grandiose arena. I'm ready to be sacrificed to the god of sabotage.
Good evening, and apologies for that short delay while I turned out to have started eating a biscuit 10 seconds before the end of the song. Yes, anyway, welcome back to my dwarven fortress of Keskalokil by the sea, where the siege update has turned out slightly less fatal than we were afraid it might be, in that the second goblin siege that turned up didn't really bring very much with it. There was like one squad of swords goblins, 3 cave dragons and a demon. And the demon was a bit of a problem, and we did lose a few dwarves to it. But fundamentally, where we were scared that we might actually lose the entire fortress, it turned out pretty well. And so, yes, we did. Also, I think that we had the fun of a dwarf falling into the goblin drowning machine and managing to be saved by some rapid lever manipulation, which was nice. So, yes, are you attempting to operate that? Oh no, you're the confused dwarf who keeps trying to pick something up and putting it back down again. Well, carry on. I'm sure you'll get hungry in it at some point. Right, we've made some leather armour because our mayor was being... You're now going to ban exporting that leather armour, aren't you? Yep. I mean, there are worse things. You could have banned the export of socks, which are currently, slightly perversely, this fortress's major export is old socks. On which subject? Is there anyone at the trade depot? No. Right, good. So lots of the dwarves are practicing using bolt throwers in order to get good at throwing bolts. And indeed, like, they are getting quite good at it. We have an accomplished siege operator here, and next to them an adept siege operator. And rather curiously, they all seem to decide they want to use the same archery target. So it looks like... Why are there some iron chain leggings lying around down there? I think our dwarves may actually be finally managing to move crossbow bolts to kind of the right places. And I think that one of those dwarves actually took something out of that box of bin of crossbow bolts. But yes, apparently we only really need the leftmost one of those archery targets. I am slightly wondering if we could be cleverer and have an archery target up here that the dwarves could fire at, given that, as far as we can tell, bolt throwers are pretty much entirely safe, unlike other siege engines. So yes, maybe we can do, maybe we could like merge those, and because one of our problems was that there wasn't anyone out here to operate the bolt throwers for a long time. On which subject I think we should have keep one of these in ready to fire mode. But really, ideally, we would have it in practice mode, and then dwarves would just practice with it out here. And yeah, they might use and given that we can reuse metal crossbow bolts now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure dwarves can't walk through these bolt throwers, given that one just walked all the way around the end of that run. We do need to update the wiki on bolt throwers. Yeah, they're all firing them in that direction. Anyway, that seems to be fine. Okay, whatever. We are turning bones into crossbow bolts so that we have plenty, but like we could also make some. Though we'd probably want to make steel ones. On which subject we should work out what the what we're doing in general about metalworking. So we have a magma forge here, and we have a magma smelter. This smelter is solely being used for melting melting down metal objects, which is fine. So that suggests actually what we should do then is go, no, don't make steel bars there. Indeed, set this one to general work orders allowed 0. i.e. that smelter is solely for melting things down. This smelter is for doing everything else. So that one now has a make steel bars task. But this means we probably want to change where all of our metal stockpiles are. And indeed coal, because we're going to want... so before we actually had... How many smelters, old smelters we have? We have an ordinary smelter, and we have one that we were using to make coke specifically. But we don't need so much coke now, I suppose. So maybe we can actually get away with having it all at the same one. So the current situation is that this smelter has the make coke tasks scheduled for it, and they're set to fire at amount of bituminous coal. So essentially we aim to convert all bituminous coal and lignite that we have. So is this then one bituminous coal stockpile and one lignite stockpile? It is. So I think what I should do is re-establish all of that stuff on the surface where our new smelter is. Oh, we should also demolish that track so we can build a wall there. So that people don't accidentally fall into the magma. So let's set up a bituminous coal stockpile. We'll make them a bit smaller. So that can then be our stones and specifically bituminous coal stockpile. And then that one can be our stone and specifically, there it is, lignite stockpile. And then we can abolish we could completely abolish, in fact, that smelter and abolish those two stockpiles. And then we need to set up a general, let's do it as an actual general one, because we're probably, if we're going to make more smelters, they'll be up here. I presume that has now, oh, okay, let's cancel, remove those two jobs as well, and then add a new, make coke from lignite and make coke from bituminous coal tasks, because we still need coke in order to make iron and steel. Cannot get an adequately reducing environment without them, and that should just have the that's making from lignite, so we'll add amount of lignite check, and that's making from bituminous coal, so we'll add making an amount of bituminous coal check. So now that will then presumably Yes, that's now trying to schedule make steel bars job. What are you playing at? Why are you standing around there? You're not. Excellent. Are you cleaning things? You're cleaning things. Well, if you must. So then we'll also want to make steel bars, but that will also happen upstairs. I should probably just abolish all of the smelters down here, shouldn't I? I mean, for some reason, this entire fortress appears to be slowly migrating to the surface, which is a bit weird. So we have a stockpile for refined coal down there, which we're obviously going to need up here to fuel the smelter's ability to make iron. But I mean, we kind of do. It kind of doesn't need to be a stockpile, because if we delete this, given that the only thing we need coal for now is running the smelter, we could actually just delete that stockpile. So is this our hematite? Is this a purely hematite stockpile? Yes. So we should move that upstairs so that we can smelt that into steel. And like that's probably the only. I'm wondering, do we even smelt that? I think we have to, because I think we need pig iron. Oh, someone's having a strange mood. You're just fighting a peregrine, aren't you? Yeah, you'll be fine. Right, let's put a stockpile here that will take hematite initially. With the idea being that essentially the only thing we bother smelting from ore is... actually, I probably do want that coal stockpile downstairs, don't I? Because that should provide something for the other things we haven't yet replaced with ones that run off magma. Okay, let's recreate the coal stockpile. I mean, it can be quite small now, but we do want it. Right. Because we'll want a bit of coal to fuel things like the kiln until we get a magma kiln up here, or wherever we put the magma kiln. There is an awful lot of blithering going on IRC. I hope very, very little of it actually seems to be relevant. Right, so there's plenty of jobs pending now at this magma smelter. Whether we have the ingredients for them is another matter. We're obviously a bit short of... Right, you've claimed the carpenter's workshop. Good. How are things going there? And you are currently, I think, fetching equipment. Fetching parts, rather. So that's good. Okay, our butchery is currently not happening, which is fine. Okay, I'm slightly surprised at an inability to load a weapon trap. we accidentally got all of the crossbow bolts in the being fed through bolt throwers, wow, we have a lot of unhelpful tasks. But I'm kind of feeling weirdly relaxed at the moment and willing to let the dwarves get on with doing their thing. Oh, I should see if there's anyone who wants teaching how to swim. You do. Are you on your way in or out, I wonder? You do. And you probably do as well. Well, that seems like a good number of dwarves to teach to swim. You don't have any swimming skill at all, right. There's no one else on their way, is there? Not that I can see, no. The drain's already closed, so we just need to pull that lever in order to let the water in. Oh, are you delivering some stuff to my... No, you're just delivering a wheelbarrow. Okay, yes. I suppose you do need to deliver the wheelbarrow first. So no one is actually trying to do the smelting tasks. Have we accidentally locked everyone out of smelting? We've got 2 people scheduled for it. Let's add another one, more or less arbitrarily. So right, ML.oc is currently storing things. Right, you guys are learning to swim, good. Well, I suppose, yes, the magma smelter always has someone melting it. We need enough people scheduled for furnace operating to deal with the fact that the I will put you in since you're skilled. Deal with the fact that lots of people, we have 2 furnaces we want operated, and quite a lot of people are busy in the military, and I possibly need to reorganise my military a bit more. Oh, are we short of wood for making crossbows from? Well, we'll get some from somewhere. Maybe we'll allow some people to have metal crossbows. And anyway, we think bolt throwers might be more fun. Right, so here's someone actually staffing the crossbow. Do you have any relations in the fortress? No, that's why you're sad at having not seen any recently. You got a good bedroom. It's all right. See if some of the less good bedrooms around here are occupied. That one looks okay, actually. Might need to make some more porcelain. That one, for instance, is enormous, but not fully lined with porcelain, which is obviously no good. No, that's a wall. That's no good. Stop it. Not a floor. This is just general principle of improve anything we can lay our paws on, any bedrooms we can get at. So are we short of kaolinite? Yes. Oh no. No, we have plenty of kaolinite. Much of it's still waiting to be hauled up to the kiln. So we should thus be able to not have any difficulties making more porcelain bricks if we need them. Are there orders to make porcelain bricks? Surely quite high up the list by now. Make clay bricks right at the top. Right, yes, that's actually ongoing slowly. Right, someone is at least notionally trying to make steel bars. Let's see what goes wrong. We do have this problem that if we try to do work outside, we keep getting interrupted by the wildlife. Yes, maybe that wasn't a good plan. Maybe I just need to build a roof over everything. So who is meant to be making the steel bars then? All right, yes, someone who is not actually any good at it, but you'll learn. I'd like you to be useful for more things. All right, yes, we need somewhere to keep flux up here, don't we? Flux stone up here, don't we? Oh, we can build a wall in there as well, which I know will annoy the poor person who has to keep walking around it, but so let's add an additional stockpile there for flux stone with the new flux capacitor. Stone, economic, alabaster, calcite, I think, chalk, dolomite, limestone, marble. I can't remember. They're the ones we mostly have anyway.
I had to stop and think whether Ben was talking in stones or not.
Oops. No, now I've lost the configuration. Oh well, we'll delete that one anyway. And then we can call this one flux capacitor. Oh, did you cancel that task or did it happen? You couldn't find enough refined coal. Right, okay, well the next task is make coke from lignite. Is that one going to fail because we also don't have any refined coal? In which case we may have to cut down a tree just to get enough wood to make 1 bar of charcoal to re-bootstrap. Oh no, because we don't need charcoal to bootstrap it now. Because a magma smelter can make refined coal directly from lignite, just with heat from the magma. So things are much less awkward now. Sorry, just catching up on IRC again a bit. Right, so that means you're like actually making some coke which will allow things to start happening again. Yes. Excellent. This stockpile is finally starting to, well, contain some object anyway, even if certain people are getting very confused by it. Like, what are you doing? You keep picking up and putting down crossbow bolts. I'm sure this is not making you happy. I mean, conveniently this bin is full of metal crossbow bolts, which is excellent because it should mean that loading the bolt throwers gets quicker. So yes, I think that's actually now getting sorted out such that in the future there will be a suitable number of crossbow bolts. We do seem to have this thing that dwarves will carry on in siege operating mode far longer than is good for them. How many do we have set as siege operators? It probably means that we want a lot of siege operators so that they can actually go and get a drink from time to time. And we currently do only have 4. I think if we're going to have multiple bolt throwers, we need more than 4 siege operators so that they will take a rest from time to time because someone else can do the job. So what task is going on now? Now someone's making coke from bituminous coal. Excellent. I mean, we may end up with an excess of coke as a result of this, but that may not be so bad. You're taking that coke down into the... No, you're immediately making some copper mechanisms, probably somewhere unhelpful, but whatever. Coke's actually quite lightweight, so I'm not really worried about people having to move it around. So you guys are still... Yeah, there does seem to be a bit of a... I'm wondering if I need to put these siege operators into the military so that we can force them to have some time off by forcing them into going and doing military training when they can't, in the same way that we do with the Lardy Larks. That would be a bit confusing though. How are the swimming lessons going? Not yet. You're thirsty and already an adequate swimmer. Do you have anything to drink with you? You've got 3 portions of persimmon wine. If you're getting thirsty, drink your persimmon wine. Your companions are not learning as quickly as you are, so you're going to have to stay there for a while. Yes, you're our not yet very good. Oh, you're our bone carver, are you? Maybe I should take you off that duty then. good. Our strange mood is going okay. Let's take you off that then. Pick someone else who currently has little work to do. Asked, isn't wine a bit diuretic and not actually very good at hydrating? Yeah, but dwarves live on alcohol. They're not. They can generally deal with quite a lot of alcohol without it like dehydrating them significantly. They will drink water if they have to, but like they definitely prefer alcohol. And yes, I think they will actually die of dehydration. The next step beyond thirsty is dehydrated, and then the next step beyond that is dead.
Alcohol just doesn't dehydrate them like it would a human.
No, indeed, it rehydrates them. You're still not adequately swimming. Oh well, you'll get there. Right, so yes, our one-handed bone carver we're sending back to bone carving because obviously we shouldn't be wasting them on smelting that they're not very good at when we have crossbow bolts to make. I mean, to be fair, we're not I think we had it was in the summer that we had that siege, was it? I can't remember. I'm wondering if we could like let this dwarf off staffing this bolt thrower until such time as we actually have a siege, or at least until the next season, because I don't think we're due. Oh, more migrants, excellent. Oh, there they are. Yes, you can tell migrants because they flash grey X's. Right, so our first task is to make sure they all know how to swim, isn't it? So Ral in our Loslan needs to be put into the heavy rocks or the mortal bodices. No, that didn't work. What? Assign position thing and search. That's better. It was a much calmer game when we didn't have people repeatedly arriving. Bringing their reindeer with them. A milker of cows, yes. Yes. Yes, we are getting migrants. Basically, as far as I could tell, what was stopping us getting migrants was the fact that we were holding prisoners of war. In that we had a bunch of goblins in cages, and I set about releasing them, and once I'd released enough of them, the migrants turned up again. Tarem let moss. But no, milkers do indeed milk cows, etc. Not that I think I've ever attempted to set all of that mechanism up. But like if you want cheese in particular, which I think dwarves may not actually be able to drink milk. They might be able to, but they mostly turn it into cheese. And cheese is quite a high value food, but note our current food situation is really not bad. So like I don't really need a milker. Is that everyone? I think that was a very small mob of immigrants, which is probably nice. Yes, let's turn the cave dragons into crossbow bolts. They'll be quite valuable crossbow bolts. Yes, the dwarves do eat cheese. Cheese is a very popular food, but it takes quite a bit of making. You 3 all adequate swimmers now. No. Sorry, you're staying in there until you're all adequate. Even though other members of your squad would like to get in and learn to swim. Yes, yes, we dropped down to, yes, I think we dropped down to something like 38 from 60, and now we're back again, yes. The second scary siege was nowhere near as scary as the first. Not only because we had functional siege engines, indeed they weren't really very helpful. We're still slightly learning how to use them. As we can see here, as the dwarves load up 2 bolt throwers with crossbow bolts. And like we actually have okay, that we don't, our stock of spare ammunition for these siege engines appears to consist of 1 crossbow bolt. I think because this pile is now accumulating them. Because I think what's happening is that, yes, I think we do actually have an unfortunate situation here. I mean, it's not that unfortunate. Maybe we should just stop making bone crossbow bolts for a bit, where this system will just accumulate crossbow bolts, as in they get delivered to the stockpile. The stockpile is closer to the bolt throwers than the target is, so the bolt throwers will preferentially be loaded from the stockpile, and then the bolts end up in this pile below the target and then just get ignored as long as there are fresh bolts coming into the stockpile. And so the capacity of the stockpile doesn't actually limit how many crossbow bolts can be here. Nothing limits how many crossbow bolts can be here. They just all end up in a big pile under the target. Some will get taken away and put into the metal bolt stockpile, i.e. those bolts that are actually made of metal. And that's kind of what we want to happen. Because we want the metal bolts to be available for throwing at enemies. But possibly we don't need that many bone bolts, given that we now don't consume crossbow bolts. So possibly I should stop making bone crossbow bolts and make something else out of bones instead. Like, how many bone crossbow bolts have we got now? They're going to be awkwardly classified, aren't they? They're going to be classified by what they're bones of. But I don't know that I really need to ask that question, because fundamentally the answer is we have got plenty of bone crossbow bolts. We need like 300 to run the trading system. And actually, to be fair, we haven't got wildly more than 300 there. So let's find the make bone bolts job. And let's just adjust the condition. We'll add a condition that says set the material to bone. Can we just choose bone on its own? You aren't going to insist that I choose the precise kind of bone, are you? So that's going to make my life awkward. You are. You don't actually have the ability to ask the question, how many bone crossbow bolts do we have? Yeah, I can ask, how many cave dragon bone crossbow bolts do we have? And I can ask, how many crossbow bolts do we have? But neither of those is the question I actually want to ask. I want to say, keep making bone crossbow bolts until we have, say, 500 of them and then stop. But no. Oh well. That's fine. We've got enough. That condition will cause it to stop. And then we should probably do we still have the make bone whatever it was we were making out of bone bracelets task? No, we don't. Let's reinstate that. Right. Yes, so goblins won't, dwarves won't make things out of, yes, more or less creatures who can learn is, I think actually the limit. So they will happily, which in Dwarf Fortress does not include ravens. So they will happily make trinkets and indeed crossbow bolts out of cave dragons, but not out of goblins or trolls. So there is a limit to what we will make things out of. I mean, Binkby says, although goblin heads on spikes were fine. Well, yes. The dwarves are quite happy to move around bits of dead goblin. I mean, to be fair, they strictly weren't on spikes; they were on pedestals. You've made us an artifact splint, thank you. Just what we always wanted. And no, the other thing, we have a perfectly good supply of plaster. This is an oaken splint called Tanam or Tanam. All crafts dwarf ship is of the highest quality, but it's actually not very valuable. It's encrusted with opal conglomerate cabochons and cushioned granite cabochons, decorated with beak dog bone and encircled with bands of round praise opal cabochons. This object menaces with spikes of conglomerate, rope reed and praise opal. On the item is an image of dwarves in oak. That's nice, but fundamentally you're not going to beat that crutch that someone's got, that like accidentally got left lying around and encrusted with 50 different kinds of gem. Right, how's the swimming training going? Is anyone drowning yet? Not drowning, dying of dehydration? No, but I think they're all adequate swimmers. Plus, like, they're getting tired. Right, let us release the water and let them out. Oh, hang on. Before we do that, we should actually move them into their new squads, shouldn't we? So there's a space in the salty inks. So we can put Astesok in there. There are no spaces in the oceanic calm. There are no spaces in Splatter the Lyrical Seas. There are lots of spaces in the waters of Twinkling. So we can reassign Limul Kegeth into there. And then you're a militia captain. Let's just leave them in the squad for now and we'll sort them out later, because dealing with militia captains is complicated. So we have a question: do you get them in again for another training round for intermediate or expert? Yes, I don't. Adequate is enough that if they fall in the river, they will start swimming before they finish drowning. Essentially, so better than that is good, but it's not actually worth putting any serious effort into. Though actually dwarven swimming is weirdly neat, a weirdly niche activity in that, or its usefulness is weirdly niche in that if a dwarf falls into water deeper than 1 Z level, so anything more than 7/7, as far as I can tell, they will sink to the bottom and stay there and drown. If they fall into water shallower than 7/7, then even if they can't swim, they will be fine. It's only at precisely 7/7 deep that, as far as I can tell, swimming is actually a useful activity, which is a bit weird, and I'm not quite confident about it. But in particular, our dwarf who drowned while cutting the end off this pier and who is now memorialised on the end of the pier, Kol Shemezum, who drowned in the year 122, they sank to the bottom of the sea and then didn't come back up again and just drowned down there, even though they were like our usual kind of pretty decent swimmer. So yes, they were able to swim around down there, but then drowned, which was unhelpful. This is also unhelpful. Someone has dumped all of their armour in the door to the swimming pool. Obviously, if that stays there, it's going to make it slightly too easy for them to escape. I mean, conveniently, 7/7 deep is precisely the depth of the river. So, like, it is actually useful for them to be able to survive in that way where goblins can't. But it's a bit weird how niche it is. Yes, obviously a drowning dwarf should drown in the top Z level of the water, not the bottom Z level of the water. But there is the slight weirdness in Dwarf Fortress that nothing floats, like wood doesn't float either, and that's obviously silly. This is something that clearly needs to be fixed at some point.
So boats are impossible.
Simon says, so boats are impossible. Yes, and yet you will observe that children have toy boats.
And boat is a word in the language.
Yes.
As witnessed.
But I think that there's a suggestion that toy boats in Dwarf Fortress are like toy flying saucers in the real world. We have words for them, and indeed you can get toy versions of them.
Let us not.
But we don't know how to make them.
Gareth is trying to work out what's wrong with the flying saucer.
And so similarly, the dwarves don't know how to, dwarves and elves and such don't know how to make boats. Oh, a masterwork of Rigoth Nomel Stinthud has been lost. Has a raven just stolen it? I do notice an agitated raven around, and I slightly worry that we need to capture some giant leopards. They would be so good for goblins. Can we please have some more cage? I mean, we should possibly do something about all the caged animals we've got and try to turn them into something more useful. Last time that happened, it had been destroyed in a crushing incident. Yes, that's true. Don't think I just killed someone. No.
Still popping nowhere near normal at 60.
Are these the only two who want to learn to swim? Oh no, three. Three might be worth doing. Okay, we can't lock the door, but we're going to fill that with water anyway and excite you. Maybe it will wash the... no, don't want to pull the drain lever. Want to pull the fill lever. Maybe it will sweep the armour out of the doorway. Oh, another potential swimmer is coming along. Plus a cat that's going to be quite surprised soon, and another cat. Right, so here's our additional swimmer. The door is still blocked with half a ton of armour. But my kind of hope is that when we fill the place with water, as is about to happen, so how do we lure them into swimming? Simply by telling them that that's where they're meant to get their weapons training. So they're currently practicing dodging. Someone here is demonstrating how to dodge, presumably the one of them that's best at dodging. Only a novice dodger, but still better than the rest. And so they're all watching and learning how to dodge, and will then be surprised when very shortly the place fills with water. Go on, place, fill with water. I think someone's pulled the lever. Yes. Am I confused? I think we'd already pulled it in the other direction. I'm going to pull the lever again. I think. Because I think things have got confused somehow. Either that or someone... No, they can't have demolished it. No, that's not been demolished. No, don't leave. We'll get the water there soon. I mean, to be fair, maybe they aren't surprised by it. Like, just... Oh yes, this happens occasionally. Like, they do enjoy the waterfallness of it all. Here we have a dwarf cleaning up who's going to be slightly surprised. Verity, there is a question about tables.
No, I think we're fine. Well, as fine as we're going to get.
Verity says, no, I think we're fine. I don't know if Dizziot is actually listening to this. Oh, there goes the water. Good. And, oh, right, now I can probably lock the door if I'm quick.
Good mute. Yeah, well,
Right, well, 3 of the dwarves are still stuck in there. One of them managed to escape while we were... Oh, have I left the drain unblocked? Oops. All the water's just run off down the drain. That's no good. I did end up pulling the wrong lever. Stoats. Right, pull the lever to close the drain. Pull the lever to reoperate the filling mechanism. And since the water level's gone down, it's probably safe to unlock the door. Because like the reason the dwarves try to leave is because it's so wet. But as long as it's not wet because someone didn't put the plug back in, we'll be fine. I don't think we can. Oh yeah, we cannot misoperate the levers so as to overfill it, but that does require quite a lot of effort from this state. Right, the reservoir is now full, so now if we operate the fill lever again and not the empty lever, yeah, the water level will be a bit high, but not dangerously so. Like there is this slight problem that the water can evaporate slowly. So if you drain the room and immediately refill it, then the water level ends up a bit on the high side. And if you drain the room and leave everything to dry and then refill it, then it ends up a bit on the low side. Right, so these dwarves are now learning to swim as well. This will probably make things better. So we are suffering a bit from being interrupted by the wildlife. We're still short of smelters. No one seems to be trying to do those jobs at the moment, and we would like those jobs to get done. Let's just add another person to the list. More or less arbitrarily. I mean, a lot of people are storing items in stockpiles at the moment, which is like a good thing to do. Oh yes, of course, we have an entire abandoned trade caravan down here, don't we? Much of which is rotting, owing to no one being able to get it back in time. Oh, and there's a tamed grizzly bear in there. Oh, we should do something about that. We like grizzly bears. Right. So yes, we're now back to making bracelets out of bone again because everyone wants more bone bracelets. I mean, possibly there are more useful things we could make out of bone, but like bone armour and bone bolts are not very helpful. Because bone versus steel, the steel does kind of tend to win. Right, good. Someone is trying to make steel bars. Possibly, if not competently, at least with some chance of success. They are. It does look like they're hauling the iron bars up from somewhere down below, but there should be less of that in the future because there's a perfectly good metal stockpile here. Right, sorry, trying to catch up with blitherings again. May not be entirely wise. What are you doing in that tree? Okay, that's a stupid way to get to the... What? How are you going to get out of that tree? Oh, there's a staircase there. What? Is that really the most efficient way to do this? You weird, weird person. I mean, I'm not going to complain very much because, like, you did manage to get out of the tree, which is better than many dwarves manage. But I still think it's a bit weird. Now what are you going to fetch? Like, all the useful stuff you need is right next to the smelter now, I think. But apparently there's an object you want from over here. What is it? Ah, pig iron. Yes, we probably don't have a stock of that upstairs yet. Okay, well, we'll let you get on with that. Right, yes, this is a generic metal stockpile, but it probably doesn't have much by way of pig iron in it. Possibly we should extend it a bit. There, that's made it a bit bigger. Lots of people are fighting mostly with ravens. The zinc cage has got suspended because it was too much like hard work. No. Sorry, I'm just being a bit worried. The agitated raven shakes the spinner around by the head. I think there should be some mass problems with trying to do that. I'm slightly worried at the state of this alleged spinner. They do appear to be... Oh, right, they're stunned, which might be why nothing good is happening. I'm going to send some military dwarves out there. Just in case. I mean, it'll take them a little while to get there. But I think those ravens are proving dangerous. Yes, I'm sending the army to deal with a raven, but I'm sending an army to deal with several ravens, to be fair.
To be fair, I'm also scared of the ravens.
What squad are you in? Splatter the Lyrical Seas. Let's send them as well then, because you're the nearest dwarf. You may not be very good. Like, do you have any skills? Oh well, you'll learn. Actually, here's someone even closer. Let's cancel the Salty Inks and send the Oceanic Calm as well, because there's someone even closer in the Oceanic Calm. Like, they appear to actually have like combat skills and stuff. I'm not quite sure what's going on here, but I think we want to stop it. Emus, I think. Twang. So our legendary axe dwarf is standing 100 metres away with the crossbow. Are you any good with the crossbow yet? No. Oh well. You'll run out of crossbow bolts eventually, at which point you'll probably start doing something useful with them. Yeah, you're mostly not hitting the correct square at the moment.
Hello. Apparently, I'm allergic to thinking about taking my antihistamine.
Okay, some of the crossbow bolts are actually hitting. And indeed you've successfully beheaded one raven with a crossbow bolt. 2 ravens with crossbow bolts. Yeah, okay, you're not actually as bad at this as you look like. And have successfully killed all the ravens with crossbow bolts. Well done. Now our unconscious, exhausted and injured dwarf can be taken home, I hope.
Of course, you can always find your blameless post-mortem, but the value of this is kind of negated if everyone on your side is dead.
No, we won. I mean, we won against 4 ravens. We really should have won against 4 ravens.
I was mostly thinking of that one from the Ravens' point of view, but the point still stays.
Right, yes. I mean, she did at least, or he did at least learn some wrestling with those ravens. There's still a phenomenal amount of stuff to be collected from the... Oh, we should lower the bridges, shouldn't we? That will make things a bit easier. Right, how are the swimming lessons going? You're doing all right. You're doing all right. So you... These ones are not thirsty. So are you. And so are you. Right, excellent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's the number of dwarves in there. So Letmos Kivish can now join. So Salty Inks are full. Splatter the Lyrical Seas are full. Waters of Twinkling are not. Okay, what's going on with Letmos Kivish then? Are you... Oh, you're a militia captain. You will have to be reassigned separately. Ildomas. And Sarvesh Gan. And Inal Oslan. And Tarem Letmos. Right. So that lot are now members of a squad that's meant to be able to swim and can go off and like actually practice combat skills. Wow, Masterpiece Cave Dragon Bone bracelets. Those are probably slightly valuable. I mean, admittedly, we doubtless have a lot of them. They're all right for value. We could definitely sell them to passing tourists. Oh dear, how's our poor spinner doing? And is someone going to bring them back to the fortress? Like they're slowly making their way back, but really we could do with someone like doing a recover wounded job. No one seems to want to do that though. Like they're lying unconscious and injured out there in the world. Maybe you should come and bring them back to the hospital.
I also just said she had a stick. I'll look the stick from next ball. I need to go and take these trousers off. So. No, it's Saturday. I don't need waking up tomorrow morning. I'll probably wake up at 8 o'clock.
Yes, someone is at some point meant to be pulling the lever to drain the swimming pool, but everyone has got out of it already, so that's all right. So we did have some jobs lined up for like making some steel gauntlets. Right, there are still plenty of steel gauntlets left to make. We may at least be heading in the direction of being able to make the steel gauntlets. I mean, there are some. No one's picked them up yet. So what's going on? We've got a plentiful... Can we actually now mark this smelter as take from just this selection of stockpiles? I think we can. Let's try it and see what happens. Because that might discourage... Oh, there's no supply of pig iron up here at the moment, is there? But that might actually not be a big problem. No, let's not do that for now, actually. Because, yes, we want it to consume the pig iron from downstairs first, and any other relevant metals from down here. I mean, I suppose we could say draw from that metal stockpile as well, because that's not going to lead to embarrassments over ores and such. Yeah, let's do that actually. So we'll say draw from all of the stockpiles up here. And from the metal stockpile up here. And from the metal stockpile down here, but not from other places. I think that will be sensible. Like, it may occasionally cause cancellations because we haven't been stocking up these stockpiles adequately, but I think that'll be good. Please, it is not helpful for you to haul a single iron arrow to a bin, like for several reasons, one of which is that we don't really care about single iron arrows, or arrows in general. Like, is this stockpile still configured to take arbitrary ammo? Yes, it takes all ammo other than bolts. Maybe we should not be bothering to stockpile arrows in general. Because, like, they're not actually useful for anything. Like, we could sell them, but we don't bother. Right, let's just ban storing ammunition in that stockpile. And, like, if we need to, we'll melt. We should be tending towards melting down ammunition. Similarly, the to be melted stockpile should probably not be accumulating bolts. Does that also have a... Yes, that one is currently not active for practical purposes. Yes, we don't want to melt down bolts. We want to melt down other things. Actually, it might turn out to be profitable to melt down single bolts as single bolts, but what are you up to? Are you about to make some... Are you making gauntlets? Excellent. Yay. Taking steel from our magma smelter and going to make gauntlets from them. Actually, this stockpile is now getting fairly empty. I think we could enable it again. The attempt at hauling that grizzly bear to somewhere where we can release it is... I should have asked to build it somewhere closer and then just got the bear out. You really do need someone to come and help you. But for some reason, no one does. Let's try. I'm not hopeful about this, but let's just try adjusting. Orderlies do recover wounded. Yes. Do we just have a far too small orderly squad group? We do only have 2 nominal orderlies. That's not really enough. Let's add 4 more people to that group. I think the problem is that not enough people are scheduled for recovering wounded. I wonder if we should put recover wounded into the everyone. Actually, was it set to everyone does this? I can't remember. Yes, it's set to everybody does this anyway, so it won't make much difference. You're the militia captain and you already know how to swim. Are you now the only member left in the heavy rocks? You are. So I think we can now remove you from that job. You are Moldath Lekmos Kivish, militia captain of the heavy rocks. Leave vacant. You now get to join. The waters are twinkling. So what did we just achieve there? Making more coke, yes. Probably going to end up making too much coke, but that's fine. We can store the coke until we need it. Was there another thing I was about to do before I decided it's getting late? Someone come and help this poor dwarf. Oh, there was a thing. I was going to do a thing and I forgot what the thing was. Oh, I was going to look at the armour and stuff situation, wasn't I? In particular for our lower priority squads, like what's going on down here around the Fountains of Gravel. We do have some members of the Fountains of Gravel. I think we might have slightly too many squads at the moment. So they're set up to be Mark Dwarves, but we do appear to have a shortage of bows for them. Like there are some others who are still a bit under-equipped. So one awkward thing is I don't know of a way to see precisely what they have. I mean, I suppose you can do it by choosing that and that. And then going, well, you notionally have things assigned, but you don't actually appear to be wearing anything. Though I think to an extent what we need to do is set them to station so that they equip themselves properly. So Dizzyat asks, how are your siege operators doing? This one is currently at adequate. I think they're one of the newer arrivals. This one is Grandmaster Siege Operator. This one has clearly only just started because they're not, Siege Operator isn't their major skill and they're only dabbling. So we are training them up at a decent pace. Indeed, my major worry is their habit of carrying on practicing when they should be going and getting something to eat or drink. And we are, I think, gradually filling up the stockpile with additional stocks of bolts. Okay, not very many bolts in that case, but this bin is quite full. So I think we will do better next time than last time, though whether enough better is another matter. So yes, we will see next time whether this is actually any use. Why? Oh right, yes. I was going. Why are there military dwarves in the swimming pool? I thought everyone had learnt to swim. Yes, they're in the swimming pool picking up the piles of armour that other people have left behind when they changed squads. So yes, we are in late summer. So my current guess is that we're going to get the next siege sometime in autumn. We will have probably slightly better equipment by then. We are making bins as well for ammo for the storing of, so we will see how that goes. And I think now is probably a reasonable time to stop for the night, and we will come back on Sunday and see if there is more fun to be had, because tonight has not been very much fun. We've just been gradually improving the world. So until then, I will say good night. Save, good night.